started.
The ocean has always been mysterious, but some waters are not meant to be crossed. This incident happened in 1997, deep in the South Pacific. A cargo ship named Albatross 13 disappeared without warning. No distress signal, no emergency call. It simply vanished from radar. 6 months later, a small fishing crew spotted the same ship drifting silently in open water. The lights were on, the engine was running, but the ship was completely silent. When the rescue team boarded the vessel, their blood ran cold. Food was still on the tables, personal belongings were untouched. The captain's logbook ended mid-sentence. There were no signs of struggle, and yet, every single crew member was gone. In the captain's cabin, written on the wall in dried blood, were the words, "The ocean has accepted us." As the rescue team prepared to tow the ship, strange things began to happen. At exactly 3:17 a.m., the radio crackled to life. A calm voice whispered, "This is the captain. We are still here." The compass started spinning violently. The sea became unnaturally still. Then, something moved beneath the water. Hands began rising from the ocean, pale, lifeless hands reaching for the ship. One rescuer looked down into the water and saw his own reflection, except it wasn't a reflection. It was his dead body floating below, staring back at him, smiling. Moments later, screams filled the night. The next morning, only the rescue boat was found. The cargo ship had vanished once again. To this day, sailors claim that if you travel the open ocean at night and your radio suddenly turns on by itself and a voice says, "We are still here," do not answer, because once the ocean calls you, it never lets you go.
No one stayed in room 309 for more than one night. The hotel staff never talked about it, but guests complained about whispers at night, shadows moving without light, and a camera that turned on by itself. Ethan, a travel vlogger, didn't believe in ghosts. He believed in views. When he heard about room 309, he smiled. "Haunted hotels get millions of clicks," he said, checking in with his camera already recording. The receptionist hesitated. "If the camera turns on," she whispered, "don't watch the footage alone." Ethan laughed. That night, at exactly 3:17 a.m., his camera turned on by itself. The red recording light blinked. Ethan woke up to a low breathing sound, slow, wet, and close. The room was empty. The camera was pointing at the bathroom door. It slowly opened. Nothing was there. Relieved, Ethan picked up the camera and reviewed the footage. At first, he saw himself sleeping. Then, something else. A tall, thin figure stood beside the bed. Its face was blurred, like static. Its mouth was wide open, and it was staring directly into the camera. Behind the figure, written on the mirror in dark stains, were the words, "Don't turn around." Ethan felt cold breath on his neck. The footage ended. The next morning, hotel staff found room 309 empty. The bed was untouched. Only the camera remained, still recording. When police reviewed the final clip, they saw Ethan standing in front of the mirror, smiling, but his reflection didn't move. It leaned closer to the glass and whispered,
Title: The River That Burns. The villagers said the river didn't burn flesh, it burned memory. They called it the Burning River, a narrow stretch of water flowing past a forgotten village called Koisia. In daylight it looked harmless, clear water, smooth current, almost peaceful. But after midnight no one went near it. Those who did were never the same. Chapter 1: A village that avoids questions. Ion returned after 14 years. He wasn't back for family or nostalgia. He was a YouTube documentarian now, chasing cursed places for views. When he heard rumors of a river that burned without fire, he knew it would go viral. At a roadside tea stall, he asked casually, "Why does no one go near the river at night?" The laughter stopped. An old man lowered his voice and said, "Some places don't want to be understood." Another added, "And some rivers remember the people who leave them." Ion smiled. But something about the way they avoided his eyes unsettled him. Chapter 2: The Water That Didn't Move. At 12:11 a.m. Ion stood alone on the riverbank with his camera rolling. The first thing he noticed was the silence. The water wasn't flowing, no ripples. No sound, just a perfectly still surface reflecting the moon. Then deep beneath the water, a faint orange glow appeared like embers buried under glass. His camera screen flickered. And then he heard it breathing slow, wet, close. Ion stepped back, a voice whispered near his ear, "You came back to watch." He spun around, no one was there. Chapter 3: The Woman Who Survived. In the morning, Ion met Zara. She was the only person who had ever returned from the river alive. Her arms were covered in burn marks, but when he touched them, her skin was cold. "What happened to you?" Ion asked. Zara stared at the river and said, "It takes something before it takes your body." She turned to him slowly. "First, it takes your memories." Ion felt his stomach tighten. Because suddenly, he remembered something he hadn't thought about in years. His mother had disappeared near this same river. Chapter 4: Faces Beneath the Surface. That night, Ion returned, this time with Zara. The river glowed brighter than before. The water began to tremble, not with movement but with pressure, like something beneath it was pushing upward. Then the surface became clear. Faces appeared under the water, men, women, children. All staring, all breathing. Zara screamed. Among them, one face rose closer than the rest, Ion's mother, her eyes opened. The river spoke, not with sound, but directly inside his head. "You left." Zara fell to her knees. "The river doesn't burn with fire," she cried. "It burns with regret." Chapter 5: What the river wants. The water crept onto the shore. Ion's legs sank into it. There was no pain, only heat inside his thoughts. Memories ignited every mistake. Every goodbye never said, every moment he chose to leave. The river whispered, "You forgot me. I will remember you." Ion reached for Zara. She pulled her hand away. "I'm sorry," she whispered. Final scene: at sunrise, the villagers found Ion's camera on the riverbank. The footage showed calm water, clear, silent, but beneath the surface a new face was visible, eyes open, breathing. Ion. Ending line: soft, whispered for narration, "Fire destroys you once. This river keeps you burning forever."